welcome back to my 21st YouTube video on my YouTube channel. Yay! I'm Hawkinsimmer, and today we are doing an apartment renovation. Woo! The first one for my YouTube channel. I have renovated apartments in The Sims 4 before, but I find them to be time consuming to play in, I guess, especially if you want to play with like pets or something. I like apartments in The Sims 4, don't get me wrong. I think they're fun, and I think it's fun that like they have personality traits. I'm building in this one in the Culpeper apartments, and it's got like a balcony. Super cute, but it's a fixer-upper or needs work or something. It's got, roaches and mice and like things break all the time. So, super fun, but it's like one of the cutest ones, right? I really like the look of this one, so, But I figured it was two women who like met in college, but one of them is from the city, so I gave her the personality trait of like, being a city dweller. And I figured they moved back to the city to both work, and it's her like sort of home neighborhood. And then they have two children. They just had a son, and so their like child daughter and their baby son share a bedroom. And like I have this idea that they're like eventually looking for a bigger space, but right now they're pretty keen on the neighborhood they live in despite the flaws of the apartment. You know what I mean? Oh gosh, those mouse holes. They are cute. Like I said, this isn't my first apartment build in The Sims 4, but I don't do it entirely very often. I don't know, I love the idea of doing the floor plan and making, the exterior of the house exactly what you want. Hate that you can't move these windows. It makes it a pain in the butt. I'm sure you can see the one that's halfway in the bathroom and halfway in the bedroom. Didn't care. I put a shower in front of the one that is halfway in the bathroom, and I don't care. I don't care. You can't make me care about it. I don't care because just it's annoying, right? Do y'all feel that way? I mean, I'm glad that once you're in the game, you can't really, change a lot, but I'd like to be able to play with it as much as possible. Like, if we could only use that kind of window so that it matches the rest of the building, but we could, like, I don't know. I don't know what I want, honestly. I want just, like, free range. I want to be a free range chicken in The Sims 4, and I know that can't happen, so whatever. But one of my longest played Sims games was with a young couple that lived in the city, and the guy was a writer. They were husband and wife, I think. I don't know. They were a thing. He was like a writer and very into just staying home and like burying himself in the office and being on the computer all day writing. And then she was a veterinarian, so like I played with her really consistently because the veterinarian career, like, you go to work with them and stuff. So, and their apartment was super cute. Like, I loved the apartment that I built for them, and I played in that for a really, really long time. But I had a ton of CC. I was using tons and tons and tons of CC. I remember the whole kitchen was CC for sure. So, I don't know how that would bode for this one, but I really enjoyed playing with them for a long time. And I ended up really liking the floor plan of this one. I've built in this before, and I always end up making the bedrooms next to the balcony, which is great, but in real life, like, I feel I didn't have a balcony in my apartment in college, which is the only apartment that I lived in. But a lot of my friends either had a balcony or like a view at least, and it was always in the main living area so that everyone had access to it, and so that like guests and things, I don't know, you could show off your little view of the city, I guess, with your mouse holes and stuff. I don't know. So I wanted to make it so that the living area was by the balcony. And I'm really only going off of apartments that I've seen in real life. And for whatever reason, this is so like a strange noticing. I don't know if anyone else has ever noticed this, but I've always noticed that in apartments, in my experience, most of the time, the front door, quote unquote, of the apartment opens up into the kitchen. Like, the kitchen is always at the forefront of the apartment. Whereas in homes, they might be tucked back a little further away, like single family homes. I mean, and like, duplexes and things maybe, I don't know. But in single family homes, they tend to not be right off of the front door. And I don't know why that is. I don't know if that has something to do with like allowing maintenance men to come in and fix things more easily. My apartment opened up into the living room and then the kitchen was tucked back more, but I had a friend who moved like 17 times and all of her apartments it opened up right into the kitchen basically. And I don't know what that's about. I don't know why it's always like that, but it is. It is weird that is a theme that I specifically remember. And almost all of them end up having some kind of like bar with bar stools and stuff. I think that's maybe because the spaces were usually too small to fit a dining space. And, most college kids probably don't have, full families and things to sit down and need a full dining table. I lived in a college town, like basically the whole town revolves around the school. Though I did live there in the summertime and it was wonderful and amazing and all of the townies and locals were great, loved it. But most of the housing is geared towards students, which makes sense because they make up a very significant portion of the population there. I can't speak for other cities that have, multiple universities or don't revolve around the university, but in my experience, in a small town that thrives on the university, everything is geared towards students. So I think the housing didn't have dining space because most students don't necessarily need it. But I'm moving on to the bedrooms here, and they were small. But like I said, they could have been larger. I could have had a third bedroom, but I really wanted to have a big living space, and it kind of like flows nicely, I think. So the bedrooms were small and not nearly as colorful, I think, or at least the master bedroom wasn't nearly as colorful. I thought it would be a little bit toned down in there. I always like to make the couples almost like not opposites, but sort of like the one the one woman I imagine does lots of like social media stuff for companies. And is like a socialite and she goes to clubs and she's very outgoing. And the other one is much more like left brain. And I put a woodworking table in here because I thought that she'd be really interested in that. Like she really wants to work with her hands and take care of stuff, which is probably also why they don't mind living in this apartment because the one woman can, do a lot of fixing. Right here is where I decided to switch from having a child and a toddler to a child and a baby, mostly because I wanted to use that crib from Realm of Magic. I use a lot of stuff from that pack, really. They have some swatches that aren't, incredibly witchy, so it's a little easy to incorporate that into things. And I just thought this room would be like rainbow explosion. I imagine their daughter is very creative and, outgoing and wild and loves color and loves to play. So I wanted to add lots of color, mostly because I usually pick a color scheme for a child room and then run with it. And I don't know, this time I wanted to use that curtain that's like pulled to the side. I wish we had more things like that. I don't know, we have some that are pulled to the side, but they're very outdated looking. I don't know. So, I don't know. Honestly, I think this room was based on that curtain a little bit. Whoops. And I loved using those little paper things. I hate using wall decor that's just flat. And I hate that in real life too. I like things to have more texture to them, I guess. So I loved sizing those paper hangings up a little bit. And now we're moving outside to the balcony. I always feel like in an apartment you should have some kind of green space if you can, and a balcony is the perfect place to do that. So I put a little seating stuff, I put the woodworking bench, and then I wanted to put a bunch of like greenery and flowers because I just felt like the very outgoing one was like, let's have a garden, let's have like a roof, let's have like a, little greenscape up here. And then I was like, okay, yeah, sure, like I'll entertain this, but it probably won't last and everything will probably die. But that was kind of the inspo for this outside space. Anyway, the screenshots are coming up. Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to leave a like, a comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I upload every Monday and Thursday at around 4 p.m. So I'll see you all in the next one. Bye! Dogs are barking, planes are flying, trucks are honking.